Welcome to our franchise law video series. My name is Christopher Neufeld of Neufeld Legal. And in this particular video, we're going to discuss what really is a franchise disclosure document. And before we dig into the real essence of what these franchise disclosure documents are or have in truth become, let's look at a couple of definitions or explanations that have been provided by certain major parties, including first, the Canada Franchise Association, which states that a franchise disclosure document is a written resource designed to provide franchisees with vital information that they need in order to make an informed decision about investing in a franchise opportunity. And we also look at one of Canada's largest law firms and a major legal representative to franchisors, in that franchise lawyer Peter Snell says, the information contained in the disclosure document is all directed at providing the basic information that any party looking to invest in a business would be requiring before they invest. And in truth, the intention of the legislatures at the outset, when they came up with the franchise laws and franchise legislation, was in all essence to create this kind of disclosure. And that was the fundamental purpose. However, as with anything where you have an imbalance in the relationship as between a franchisor and a franchisee, and the franchisor dictates and moves forward with what it follows through, it is going to comply with the law, yes. But it's also going to work the law and manipulate the law to its own advantage, such that it achieves compliance. But at the same time as it looking to achieve compliance, what it also does is that it legally protects itself. And that's what franchisors are fundamentally doing with respect to franchise disclosure documents. They are, in essence, complying to the basic statutory minimums as to what is required to be provided to the franchisees. But they are only providing what needs to be provided by statute. And then what they end up doing is they put in a lot of additional legal information and materials that are designed to limit and restrict the franchisee. And this is either done by way of the disclosure document or the franchise agreement. In essence, there is not the kind of information that one might look to attain, in truth, should they be dealing with an equal party on the other side. For example, if I am buying a business from somebody else who is selling a business, my expectations from the seller are such that I expect substantially more information, substantially more insights with respect to the potential of the business, the current production of the business, and the like. That is not what is required by the franchise legislation and is not typically found within the franchise disclosure documents. To the contrary, franchise disclosure documents only provide those statutory minimums. And to the extent that the franchisors have been able to effectively manipulate and pervert the legislation to their own advantage, what they provide you with is not fundamentally that beneficial. There would be a lot more beneficial information that could be provided, but as I've spoken with all too many representative franchisors, both internally and legally, they are not getting that information. The fundamental information that you would think should be provided is precluded. And the lawyers specifically tell the franchisors, you are not in a position and you cannot provide that information. You cannot provide projections. You cannot provide information that goes beyond what is contained in the franchise disclosure document, because that could be problematic for you in those instances where you're subsequently sued or where the franchise does not perform as well as expected. So you provide what the statutory minimum is, and thereafter you provide a whole range of limitations and restrictions upon the franchisee with respect to the franchise arrangement. And that is what you fundamentally find in franchise disclosure documents and franchise agreements, is that they are very one-sided. They fulfill the statutory minimums, but beyond that, everything has been designed, including the structuring of the franchise, to minimize the information disclosure. Yes, it satisfies the statute, but beyond that, it really, in essence, provides little information that is of true significance. It'll allow you to avoid the most egregious of situations. Yes, but beyond that, it doesn't provide all that much. Financial statements that you find in franchise disclosure documents have very rarely any correlation to what is going to be happening with respect to one's own business. The minimum projected numbers that I see are almost always inconsistent with the realities of how much it's going to cost. You cannot expect your economics and your business planning to rely upon that. It just simply doesn't work. The other information is beneficial, but it just sets out what your expectations are, and you cannot simply rely upon those documents. Those documents, yes, they are a starting point, but by themselves are not going to provide you with a lot of fundamental information to make your business decisions, to make your business plans, to structure your finances going forward, to do projections, to ascertain expectations going forward. And if you think so, you're deluding yourself. Instead, you have to understand what the scope of those documents has really become. And that is the franchisor complying with their legal obligations under the governing statute, and thereafter putting in a lot of controls and a lot of restrictions in place, and that is what you are getting with that documentation. And don't think there's something grand or powerful in there that is to your advantage. That would be inconsistent with what almost every set of franchise disclosure documents and franchise agreement is designed for. Everything has been designed specifically for purposes of protecting the franchisor, whether it's protecting the franchisor from being in violation of the governing franchise statutes, or from protecting the franchisor with respect to issues with its franchisees. And that is the real purpose behind franchise disclosure documents and franchise agreements. Thank you.